is just about building as usual. So today I'm going to be completing the mobile app, which we already started. So these are just like bonus episodes. So I completed this episode, this series, this annotation series, the extension series on, I think that was 3 days ago. But I've been trying to complete it so that we can deploy it to the Chrome store before we finalize with this. So the idea is just to complete this and get it done. So currently I have this implemented. I'm just going to minimize this. If I'm not mistaken, I have it this way. Okay, this is not what I want to display. I have this implemented. So I'm just going to load it onto this app. This is not the one I want to show you to. No, 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 no. And yeah, so I'm just going to reload this app. So it's going to supposed to like open this normally just to show us what we have working as of yesterday. So that is the plan, and that's what we are trying to work with still. And yeah, still the same thing. Why not working? What's happening now? All right. So it's really, I remember we did something to work with. Then we remember right now if not working the annotation. Let me go extension project. So this is the extension project and the mobile is the extension mobile project. Right? So we have both of these, and we have the simulator that shows the sign in and the sign up. So yesterday we did something like this where I was able to sign in with my I was able to sign in on both the extension and then on the mobile app, which is this one. So what I'm trying to do today, as you can see, this is my account. I used to sign in, right? And this is what I'm using currently. So in this case, now using this account to sign in, I can also use that same account here to proceed with what I'm trying to do. So the idea here is, let me see if I can sign in using the same account I have here, since that's the same thing. You can see the name. So if I do that, I'm just going to sign in. I'm going to use the same. I'm going to just use my normal password that I've already set. So it's not going to tell me, hey, welcome, bro, so, and so. And that's it, basically. So it doesn't really have any crazy stuff that is happening or not working. So what I want to do, first of all, is I have this already. I want to hide my name or my email that has been displayed here. It's just a temporary email. It doesn't really work. So that's the idea. That's the plan on what I'm trying to implement here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the home page, because here you can see we have welcome. For where I have welcome there, and that's the proper styling stuff for it to work. And some other things I want to remove is I don't want top here, and some other stuff I want to change. But before I do all of these things, I want to have like a design for us to work with, right? So the design we already have is going to be something of this nature. It's going to be the annotations we have here like this. It's also going to show them in cards, right? The annotation, the name. Currently, we don't have the actual name, which to still work with. That means from the annotation itself, when we store, we don't store the name of the site we copied, right? We store the date and some other things, but not the name. So we need to see how we can do that. So I'm trying to rush as much so that in the next 1 hour, most probably should be done with the whole mobile implementation. So first thing I'm going to do is remove this name. I know I'm signing through my name, and the sign up button will be there. The sign up button is coming from so it's something we designed. Then we have like a text, stuff like this, just a touchable opacity. The thing we are going to do before I set up any UI changes is to see how we can load our data, right, from the image kit. So we want to use the user to load it. But currently we are just going to load all the data from image kit first of all. So we have to go back to image kit to see how we can do that. So the first thing we're going to do is to go here. So we're going to go here and we are going to pick this. I'm going to pick pick this. Go back here, pick this. And what I'm trying to do here is this is that the images. So there was something I noticed today while testing, that if we use a large image, if you store a large image, it kind of fails. So we need to still go work that out. So that's a bug, but that doesn't stop us from still posting it to the Chrome store, and then we can work on that as before it gets even approved for the Chrome store. We could have worked on that, updated it at a new version, and keep adding versions. So those are something that we can do. We don't need to restrict it. We put it to the Chrome store to get approved because it works. But I'm not doing that because it's not working the way I expect it to. So we have a certain stuff before it can go to the Chrome store. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So in this case, we have this display, this, all of this display. So that means everything works as expected. But one thing is not working as expected yet, which we need to work on. So, and that is try to display the sync here. The images that we've already added. So in this case, we have all of these configurations and stuff. It will fine. So we'll style up all of this eventually. But let's go to the home page, which was where we just need to make it and see how we can vent all of those things. The React, have to see the React. I know that's not exactly what we need, but I just want that. Oh, why this load taking time? So taking time. Wow. Okay, so yeah, so this is what we need. So you are installing the ImageKit React package. So I'm sure there should be a React Native package we can also use. So in this case, it says we install uh, React Native. No, I don't need all of those. Those are, I think I have those by default. React Native screens, save area context, gesture, and blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. You don't need all of this. Just tell me what I need to install. This is a quick start, show you how to integrate in a React Native application using the image JavaScript SDK. Oh, okay. So in this case, it doesn't really have a way to do it. We need to use the ImageKit JavaScript SDK, right? So we need to install it using the JavaScript SDK. We can't use the React implementation, so we can't use that. We need to use the SDK format the same way we did for the extension, so that we have the SDK, we call it from there using like a normal fetch request, just the same way we did it. Sheesh. All right, that's fine. We'll just copy. Since we have to do that, we'll just copy. So what it says here is we'll be using this, so we have to install it. Uses URL API, so we need to install some other libraries like React Native Polyfill to make that work. So you say we should create applib imagekit.js, which is something like this, and where we'll initialize our SDK to create hyper functions of using the app. URL endpoint is the required parameter. We can get the URL value of URL endpoint from the ImageKit dashboard, which is all of this. And we also initialize the SDK to set this in this, so we can do the initialization here and stuff, blah blah blah. Okay, so there should be a better way to do this, but then I think I'll just go with this. So you say rendering images can be created from any image part. You can learn more about this. So what we need to do is just fetch the image. We pass in the image source and the transformation. We pass this. We pass to imagekit.url. That means imagekit must be coming from here. So that means this also needs to be added to applib kit, if I'm not mistaken, because it's to be available for it to be used. So, but at this point, exporting it, right, it just feels so old. Unless we can implement it in a new way, I think I can do better than what is being implemented here, the way it is written currently. So, yeah, let's just get something done. So, two ways we could have done this might be an easier way to do it in such a way that we can. Okay, so I have a different plan for this. So far so good. We want to implement something like this, right? Why not do it this way? So given that we have something like this, let's create it in such a way that we have our extension. So let's call this our extension, right? Let's call this our extension and call this extension Anno-mark extension. So let's say this is Anno-mark extension, right? So I'm going to increase the font. I'm going to collapse it like this. Right, so we have this as an mark extension. So we have all of this, right? Let's duplicate this. So let me duplicate this and use this, right? So this becomes our, let's say this is our Anno-mark mobile. Now, in between this and this, the Anno-mark extension is what creates the images, right? So in this case, we have this creates the images. So in this case, this creates the images. In this case, this displays syncs the images, right? So in between this and this, why don't we have like a database? We can have like a database that handles this for us in the sense that we don't need to fetch from ImageKit directly. And the reason why this is quite simple. We can do it in such a way that we don't want to have this stored on ImageKit directly. So out of storing it per folder on ImageKit itself, we can have it in such a way that it is stored also on a database like Convex, right? And then it's synced automatically. So why are we doing it on Convex? URL is what we want to save to manage users stuff from Convex. We can do that without managing user session anyway. We can store it locally on the user's device. Do it on Convex. Do it in this. Store users on this device, but the key to creating it is coming from Clerk. In fact, we don't even need to undo sessions because Clerk handles the sessions. So we just take the user session and then we automatically just pass it in to call. We need the username created for us on ImageKit and use that. So two things with the database, as I'm thinking, we might need that or might not need it. So in this case, we might think of, do we need the database now or we don't? So So that's the question I'm asking now. I've not really thought of if I'm going to need database because I didn't think of needing it before. Since we already have ImageKit and link the upload directly, we just want to fetch direct from there. Having the database simply means that it introduces more complexity. Currently, we have ImageKit here, right? So I'm just going to duplicate this. We have ImageKit here. So here we have let me change the color of this to this. So we have this is ImageKit. This is basically for storing images, right? So now that we know this is for storing images, how does this help us in any way? So we have this storing images. We need to introduce the because we meant to introduce the DB now. This becomes a full-fledged application whereby we store database, we store the images, we store link it to the mobile, and then from the extension. So we have to go through this route. We go from here to here, and then from this to this also, and then or we go from this to this, whereby we turn this like this, whereby we have this to this, and we have this to this, like this. And then this goes from here to here instead. So that way we have to remove this completely. Or we just go direct like this, which makes sense. So which one do we have to go for here? So let's look at the pros and the cons. So two things to worry about. If you take it from the extension itself, we create the image, right? This stores the image, this syncs the image automatically. So we have the mobile app, we have the extension, the image, and the mobile app. Or do we have a DB that takes whatever we store here, takes it to the DB, stores the URL for that user, and processes it. But that becomes extremely complex because we don't need to have that. There's no significant use case for the DB here. So okay, no, I'll just grab the DB. We don't need it. So two things. Let's go back to the image kits. Yeah, what they provide for us here. So it says I need to store all of this. I need to have this. So I'm going to just copy this, right? Since I know I need that. So first thing I'm going to do is install the ImageKit JavaScript library. That's something we need. We can do that like this. So that means if we have that library, we can use this same process, right, to do this. It doesn't really matter because we have the same functions. We can use the same functions, the transformation string and all to make it work. But one thing to also understand is that we need the signature generation. So that simply means that the upload function requires you to send token, signature, and expire parameters. These are used to authenticate the upload request. So in this case, we need all of this. Remember that from our use case, we created the tick token signature from our code. Let me show you guys where that was done. So that was done when we created the, let me do for a get signature. And is this signature? Is it perform signature or something? I can't remember. Generate signature. Yeah, this is it where we use the generate signature function. So this is what we need to do. But in this case, we are using this to generate the signature. So we can use the same thing also here to undo this. But for it to be done properly, we are supposed to do it from a backend server. So that means we need to provision the server in this case, which doesn't make sense. So in this, at the end of the day, is leading me to go with this approach whereby I store everything on the DB and then pick what I need from the DB. So that means the reason I connect to is just the DB. And one of the perfect way we can do this is using a DB like convex, which is just going to make sense for me. So I can write my code within my app without needing to do anything. And then when I'm done, I just link it directly to a DB like convex and they will pick it from there. So what we need to do is just store the URL of the user of the a URL of yeah, so we store the URL of that user. Just something like this is what we need. So if I go back here, I go to the getting started. All I need is I go to the media library, I pick the directly for that user, the directory for that user from the image kit, and then that is what I'm just going to store, nothing else. So I'm just going to be querying the DB, not image kit directly, even though image kit can give me what I want. But looking at this now, uh, oh, I don't need this because I'm not trying to upload anything. So thinking about it again, I'm just reading, right? I'm not uploading. So I don't need to implement the key generation since I'm not doing all of those things. Since we are just reading, we don't need the upload. So we don't need the database at the end of the day. So we are still just going to go with the same thing. So it says we need to initialize our SDK, and initializing the SDK requires me to do all of this. But then there's still another issue of exposing your keys client side, because if I call this directly from a database from the front end, from the client side, I'm exposing the keys. So trying to build this, I'm trying to build this like a proper software engineer, not like someone that's just trying to push an app out there. Now it doesn't cost you anything because it doesn't cost you any security feature to any security flaw in the sense that nobody needs your annotations, nobody even knows what to do with it. Only you know what you need for it. So it's not as if it's the data you want to keep um from being public, right? You can allow, you can share with the people. That's the sense of it. But then you need to explain what it does. So, but still, we want to do it in such a way that you may want it. It's part of the laws and requirements of different regions. And personally, I like making things so secure. That's why I'm thinking this way, in the sense that I want it to just be secure for you. I swear, except if you decide to share it, which is how everything should be done. So my idea of deploying this is to pass it through a database, which I feel is complex. It adds a layer of complexity, yes, but then we just call it from the database directly, and that should work. I'm quite confused at this point. I'm thinking of what to do. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so let's see. Let me just think a bit. I'm sure I should be able to get something done. Um, I'm just thinking a bit what it is that I need, and looking at it, I don't think I need much. Honestly, all I need is just to install convex, and I use the use query to fetch, and that should be all. So I'm seriously thinking that we don't need to implement. I might need to implement the DB because exposing keys client side, of course, once I have access to these keys, once anybody get access to these keys, they get access to everybody's stuff. I mean, say that it doesn't make any sense, but then there's no point if you annotate stuff that you want to remember. It's personal to you. That's why you want to do it that way. All right, you know what? I'm going to build it as a proper application because that's the essence of building. I'm thinking like a software engineer right now. I'm going to build it like a software engineer. So I'm going with Convex, implementing Convex, and we are done. So that's what you are going to do. So in this case, use the convex React client, follow the React Native quick start. So I'm just going to open the quick start. It says learn how to do this with this, create a native app, install convex. So let's do that. So that means we need to modify our implementation to make it work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the dashboard here, go to Anno-mark, which we already created. I created that before. So one thing we are going to do is to have this Anno-mark now, we need to create a data that needs to be installed. Currently, we don't have anything in the data on the database. So I'm going to prompt, this is the Anno-mark, right? So I'm going to add a feature. Currently, we have changes that we need to store, but we've not done that. So everything works currently. So I'm just going to image kit integration has been merged. Let's see if it has been merged. Not yet. Okay, so that means I'm going to commit this, and I'm going to push this. I'm going to save it because I'm sure we added something. So what was the last thing we added? Yeah, Click, Chrome, this and this. So I even integrated Click. Okay, so I have to split the stored stuff. So this is annotation gallery. This needs to be saved as a separate stuff, including this. Yeah. So this is just going to be the annotation stuff. Image kits. I'm not going to click flow here. So I'm just going to commit and push this to image kit integration. So save that as the integration for image kit, push that. I'm not supposed to push this yet because I wanted to be sure everything, but then it's fine. You can always take it away. So I'm going to create a PR for this. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to create a PR for this reviewers, myself, label is enhancements. It's part of what we're trying to do. So I'm going to do this like this. I created this for, create a pull request for it, merge it immediately, no stress. Okay, so I'm going to merge this. I'm going to create a new PR, a new branch. I'm going to call it branch. Oh my god, don't hang right now. Click integration. So the one for Click is all of this. So these are all Click integrations, right? And then I'm going to generate a new PR for this. These are documentations. Oh, image kit service was added. I totally forgot this. Yeah, which was supposed to be for image kit clients. So thumbnail generator also was done. How did I not add this to it? I was thinking it's another project, like the 14. Wow. Okay, working on the project. Okay, so that's fine. That goes with it. So I'm going to add this also with it. The documentation I used for this. I'm going to add 4 of them. All right, so adding the 4 to it. So we should have 9 files. We should have 10 here. Here. So I'm going to generate this again to add some other stuff to it. All right, so copy this, copy this. Okay, so copy, commit anyway and push. Come on, push, 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 push. You're delaying. All right, create PR. Push this here, this here, and done. Should I push this? Should I merge this yet? Nah, I'm not going to merge this yet. So what I'm going to do now is want to add something to it, right? You know what? I'm going to make that. There's no point keeping it. For the click, since we are done, even though we need to still do more to it, but for now, that's fine. So what we have currently is we need to update this so that whenever I send to the image kit, I want to add convex implementation to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and say, I want to modify this implementation. I want to implement the the upload to image, upload, save and upload annotation implementation. I want to also save to convex. As your users uploaded image URL gets saved to convex. So while we are implementing this from the extension side, I'm also going to be implementing this from the mobile side. The reason is because this way, if you look at the examples we saw here from the quick start, all I needed to do was install convex, and that's it. We should be done. So these are sample data that we want to. I'm not using all of this, so we can just import all of this to convex straight away, and we can just undo this. But this is not what we are trying to do. So I'm trying to just fetch right from a particular table that exists. That's all I want to do, which is what we are going to implement using the use query here. Now you can see we created something here called so we created a table here called task and passing this sample data. But in this case, we are not passing any of those things ourselves. So we need two things. We need the user's ID, because now two things should happen. We should be able to implement the authentication from this side. But we don't want to implement the authentication from this side because we already implemented the authentication from Convex. Convex handles the authentication itself. So we don't want to use this. There's a way we can use Convex authentication to implement this. Let me show you guys an example. Uh, okay, let's go back to, yeah, authentication here. You can see there's a Convex authentication here. Convex auth. You can see the clerk. The clerk here simply means it works with clerk directly, which you can set up, and then we can use convex auth to implement everything we are trying to do by using something like this. It still works the same way we have convex like, so we can use this instead for our use case, and it still works, automatically works. So we can do this and it works for us. So it says it's an execution platform. This, and this is this. Sign up for Click. We've done all of those. Create a GWT template, which we need to do. Currently, we don't have this set up, so we need to set up this also. So once you set this up, we can use convex auth directly to implement whatever we want, and that should just work for us. So I believe this is the approach we're still going to go with. Or currently, let's just see if this can implement this for us. So I said create this. So it said based on my exploration, authentication using this for user authentication pop-up, image storage, currently using image kit for uploading images, using Dixie for this. So it's able to understand the application, right? As usual, I'm going to create a documentation that I want it to write to. So I'm going to say convex integration implementation plan. So I want you to write the plan here. As usual, I told you guys, always write your implementation plan. It's extremely important. So set up convex integration here, install convex dependencies, which I'm going to need, initialize convex in the project, create convex schema for user annotations, define the table to do this, to store the clerk user IDs, the annotations. But two things I'm thinking about. We don't need to go this approach also. The reason is because if we can implement Click on the extension side, we should be able to do something like convex authentication from that aspect as well. I'm not going to break anything currently. The reason why I'm not breaking anything here is because even though this is going to work, remember we are not using Click React from that extension. We are using Click extension. So this uses Click React, so it breaks the flow. So we can't use that. So in this case, it says, see the following actions for using this. This is your starting point. Example this with Convex and React. So the problem I have here is that I don't know if it's going to work with the mobile. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work with mobile using React Native or Expo. I clearly don't know. I've not tried that before. So that's the problem. So this is the reason why I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to go with this approach because we don't want to start debugging stuff if it doesn't work. It works for actual React, like using native React. But if you're using React Native, does it work? There's no way to guarantee it does works. There's really no way. Even though it might work, we are not sure, and I don't want to play with that for now. So let's just try to implement the way we wanted to do it, which was using the quick start, using the React Native. Then if it works, this works, then we can those are version updates, right? Those are updates that we implement when we write code. We push out the prototype first. If it works and it does whatever we want, then we can now implement all of those things because now we are not making anything from it, but want it to make money. So if you start getting real users that are very dedicated. It won't break anything. It still will not leak out any data. That's why we are going to this approach of more complex implementation. So what I'm going to do here is define the user stable to store collect user IDs, define annotations, include fields, here. Mutations is this, create this, and add user notification check in this. If user is signing, this is this. Create utility to get collect user ID and authentication state in background scripts. Merge local and convex results appropriately. Update gallery UI to show this. Extension content should we migrate existing local annotations to convex? No. Should annotations be stored only in convex for authenticated users or keep dual storage? Should they be stored? So that means if you are using annotation, if you are using convex here, that means you need to first implement convex. So that requires us to implement something like this using yes, if I'm not mistaken. So we need to do something like this. I think I need to read this myself. I don't trust this guy to do it for me. So we need to implement convex, do the same thing, just copy this from this, implement a script to this query, then this. How do we write to it? How do we handle mutations? It's not here. So we can use the React flow, or we definitely cannot, but we can, hmm, we can also use the script tag, which is cool. So we can just do this. We can add this to HTML since we are using stuff like this, and that should work for us. Oh, okay. I'm really liking this. I'm liking this. So that means we can use this with convex too, and that this should work because if you can add this, that means convex can work with our extension. If you can add this as a script, so that means we can only just add our convex URL here, which we are going to also allow, and then we can get the client from here, initiate a client, then just client upgrade, and that's it. But our client URL from convex has to go deployed elsewhere. So that's specified to when we are deploying the extension with external stuff for it to work. That's what we need to do. But I think business using the work user to be able to see even on your local device. I know this is the essence is that it should be usable for users. That is the essence. So if you are going to be using convex for this, we can use the script tag. That's cool. I never knew convex as that applicable. So if you can use the script tag, this just solves our problems. 100%. So all we need to do first is install convex, start the convex URL, then convex/stacks should just work perfectly well for us. Wow, that's beautiful. The only issue I have with this is if it's going to allow us to deploy when we deploy the extension itself. I don't know. I haven't tried it before, but I feel like it should work. So in this case, let's answer this question first and see how we can integrate convex to it automatically using probably the script. And If you can implement using the script, then that means I can go ahead to implement the authentication like using convex click like this. This might work for us. So this might be what replaces both the client side and the mobile side. Hopefully I can get this done today. If I do not complete this today, I'm going to make sure this works. Then by the time we are having the last video for this series, which is going to be the last one, I'm just going to show you guys how I do deploy it, and that's it. So I'm going to give you update also when it gets deployed to the Chrome store, so you guys will see the URL as well. So yeah, that's the plan. So in this case, let's go with what we need. Okay, so I just say yes. We should annotation be stored only in convex for the authenticated user or keep dual storage. Keep dual storage. Any specific convert deployment? Nope. So I'm just going to, as usual, tell you to write it somewhere. And let me see the plan first. Install convex. We can't use convex React. That's the problem. But I'm not going to tell you to not use it because I don't know. But you obviously knows this is an extension, so we can't use convex React some places. Like I said, I'm not going to waste time here, but we need to also get this done. This is the reason we need this, right? We see that we can create this in our script. We can just create something like this using okay, we need to have a convex stuff, and then we can just create this anywhere. But the reason why this also might not be applicable elsewhere is because we need to use the messages to communicate. So using messages to communicate, we ensure that we can also use the script as is without having issues, which I believe. Really, all you needed to do was ask for me to add it, and that's all. You didn't need to go this crazy. Jeez. Wow. And I'm back to AI misbehaving again, as usual. So this is looking a bit too much for something this simple. Yeah, I think I know AI can go absurd, like unnecessarily extreme, but this feels a little too much. I also hope he knows what he's doing here because we don't need this. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Let me just pick this. I think I have an urgent message I need to attend to. All right, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, here we are here. Let's read through the implementation plan. So authentication using this, image storage using this, lookup this, save this, blah blah blah. No migration, store only image kit URLs in convex, no full image data, not full image data, dot storage, get cloud storage. Um, okay, so install convex dev slash react as usual, which I really don't want you to do, but that's fine. Um, click ID, email, name, image URL, created that. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, name and email should be optional. I don't want to store users' email for nothing. Just their click ID is okay. And their annotations, user ID, image kit URL, thumbnail URL, title, this. Do we need all of those things? I don't think so. All I need is just the URL. You don't need to keep all of this description and stuff. But whatever, that might be needed eventually. So convex functions, user management, and all of this. Um, Save user annotation. Okay, this is what I need exactly. The query, the mutation, just three things should be fine. Also, utilities, get current user ID from convex. Uh, okay, convex service layer. All right, that's fine. Tell it to start. I think this is cool. Yes, proceed with this implementation. Okay, so while this is working, I'm also going to be working on this, right? I'm going to go to the React Native section, so we don't need to wait for one. So I'm going to create this, create the other one. Uh, First of all, need to install convex. So you're going to go back here, server. You know what? I'm just going to start a new one. Pm install convex. That's it. Convex, and that's all. So we've got convex, which is this, and then we start the convex ID. Then we do not put a ball. We create a. We can't do that. We can't import, but we just create a schema for it. Create a schema for that table that we are going to use. So it's just going to be something like that, and that should work fine. So once the solution is complete, it should work as expected. I still don't believe convex React is going to be the best way, but hopefully let it do its thing. It's supposed to use PNPM. You should know I'm using PNPM for crying out loud. I'm installing myself. Yeah, that is actually very true. So convex is installed, but there's nothing called convex React. That's just dumb. Come on. No, it's that's correct. Thank you for letting me. And let's see what this guy is going to do. Access token, really? I'm just going to proceed and just say I've installed. Don't even try again. I've done what I need to do. Just proceed with the next thing. Okay, so this is done. Am I mistaken? Oh, not done yet. So that means this is not done also. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this is done. So we're done with this. All right, so if that is done, I can start the convex dev, right, but it won't do anything because I'm not properly signed in. So I'm just showing you guys another way this can work, another way to get this to work as well. So it's not something that crazy or that requires us to work on something very extreme, but this can work for us. It can work for our use case as well. Okay, yeah, that seems correct. The schema looks correct as well. So this is the schema I'm going to be using for the app also. But we won't be using most of these, just the users, and the annotation is not really important, but I'll just copy the same schema, dump it over there. We don't need that too because we are just picking the information, which is just a basic query from an existing database. How do I do that in Convex? Okay, I never thought this was going to be an issue, but I think now I understand what I'm trying to say. The point is that we have two programs trying to use the same data. How do I write to it? Because data import and export, advanced. Hmm. Wow. I never thought of this. This is so much. A okay. So does that mean I need to create two separate schema for me to manage this? Is that even necessary? So that means the web needs to have its own schema. There's no way for me to have just a particular URL and I query from that URL. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, so um, trying to think of how this can be made possible easily. Yeah, I think this is it. Calling external services might be what I need in this case because I already have it, right? There should be a way to call external convex DBs. How do I do that? Okay, I think I need to understand how to do this. If not, it's not going to work for my use case. And this one just feel for what we want really, which is a problem. So my thought process here is just let me ask this question. Oh, okay. Nice, 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 nice. So what I could have just done also would be to not implement this in the extension or implement it directly in the mobile app. So even if you don't have the mobile app, all you need to do is have the mobile app first. Sign up on the mobile app, then sign in on the extension when you have that, and automatically just syncs. Automatically syncs. But then the problem with that is that you need to have the mobile app before you can fetch your existing app. So if you create an existing app and there's no mobile app for it, it refuses to work automatically, which is a problem. That's what we are trying to do. But also, there's another way that can also help. Okay, this was helpful. Very, very helpful. Good answer. Okay, so it says I have this multiple front end, can use this, talk the same, so you can point to the same URL like this. That's that. Okay, so well, this makes sense. So it says configuring deployment URL. We can do this, connect with this, and that just works. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at what's happening here. So we are just going to make the whole convex implementation happen from the extension side because that's the point source of truth. But I would have preferred it to happen from the mobile side so that automatically, or let me say at that point where that happens, whenever you create the app, it gets saved automatically to your uh so it gets saved automatically to your okay, it gets saved to image kit. Convex just picks it automatically. But if it's on Convex too, it doesn't really matter. I just point to the URL from the extension. You know what? Let's see which one works. Whatever works, I'll just copy the exact Convex implementation here, paste it into the mobile app, and then point to the URL from here, which will be even extremely easier to work with. Let's see if it works. I've not tried it out. Let's see. It might be wrong, I might be right. I don't know. Oh Lord. What did I do? I hope I haven't broken this. Anytime you tamper with what AI is writing, they tend to misbehave. I hope I've not tampered with it. You have removed it. Please, please, please. Oh, it still works. Okay. All right, that's fine. Really, there are no imports anywhere. Where do you see import issues? Like where? Jesus. Can be so tired of AI sometimes. Where is the import errors? Like there's none. Crying out loud, you have removed it too many times.
It's 17 hours.
Nice. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, I still don't like this approach. I'm going to I'm going to refactor this myself because the whole thing should happen from the whole convex implementation, the mutation and all should happen from you know what, let me go back to this. So it says can all talk to the same convex implement as long as they are configured with that deployment URL. So for example, in a separate reactor, just point to this at the same time for this and make use of it directly. So things to be aware of different apps in the same repo share one backend. Web plus mobile, exactly. Share the same deployment point in each client at the same deployment URL. Okay, that's exactly what I want to do. But the question now is which of them gets to create it? So the mobile app can create it in this case, whereby it creates the annotations, the mutations. So it doesn't need to happen on the extension side. I prefer it to be on that side because the extension may have limitations, which I truly believe it will. Even though it's going to call stuff from there, it still work. I'm just going to give you the benefit of the doubt first. Let's see what happens. Because all I need to do is not much. What I just need to remove will be to remove the convex schema and all of this. So I'll just remove all of this, copy it and paste it directly into the mobile app. And then from there, I'm just going to modify some things. Now that we need a client, right? And I'm sure this created a client somewhere. We just point it. It's not really the problem. It's not an issue in this case. Since we need a client that needs to use it, and if the convex React gives us issues, we can always turn back to something like this. We can always turn back to something like this. Let me go back to, so we can always resolve to something like this to implement what we want. Depends. But it's fully integrated into the messaging system of Plasma, so that should work perfectly well. And for other another reason, if this doesn't work, this should work. The one for the Node.js should work. The reason is because all we need to get still is to get the client. As long as we can get the client, we can call this anywhere. So even if this doesn't work here, we just need the convex browser, which I believe should be the best approach. Because we're working with an extension, it's not in a browser, it should be the best approach. But I would still prefer this to work, but let's see. I don't know if anything that it has done here is as wrong as I expect it. But I can see users convex auth, convex storage. So let's see the convex auth to see. I know there are errors, obviously, yes. Uh, So in this case, we have this, which is from browser. So it's literally picking the wrong thing, which, based on what I said, is still correct. It's using the browser approach, which, as you can see, still works. Everything comes from Convex, so that's perfectly okay. So what I can just do here is, all I need to do is just modify that. I don't need to change anything. Since the Convex auth does this, right, and it's still the same thing. Like you're using Chrome storage, please use Plasma storage for me. Don't use Chrome storage. Stick to the plasma storage. I'm still going to tell you to stick to plasma storage. So since we have this already and the whole plasma thing is done, we are just going to have the plasma convex URL, which we are going to use. So we are not going to store all the other information about plasma here. Just the plasma URL will be here. So, and that should work fine, like literally. And then we have the storage as well. The storage also is a, let's see, the storage also is just this. You have this. Okay, for the annotations. Is it? So this we retry. So then we have this to store this, and we have this to get this, to get this. So we don't need most of this here because these functions we need, these functions here are going to be used in the mobile app itself. So thank God it's writing it. I'll just copy and paste there. So deleting it also should be done here. Yeah, I think the updating, I don't think there's anything to update here. It doesn't really make sense. So update is not needed here. I'm going to remove it. Search is not undo the, I'm going to remove it. The click by LD is going to be removed. Okay. We need this also in the mobile app. Testing connection, mobile app. We will try. Okay, all of this is going to be handled in the mobile app. We try this, so that's fine. Everything we might go need for the mobile app is already being handled for us here. So we have about 15 minutes left to get all of this done. Let's see if we can get this done completely. Probably should have specified you shouldn't do all these ones here, the delete annotations, all of those things. All I needed to do is just to store, just to save. No need for deleting, no need for updating. But then the point is, if we delete an annotation here, does it get deleted from the convex directly? It should. That's the idea. It should. But if you delete it from the mobile app, should it get deleted from the local storage? No. Okay, we work out all of this eventually. The point is, you want to sync whatever happens from both sides. So I totally agree we should do that. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. So it's using what I expected. It's using the browser implementation, which is perfect. So that means installing Convex works properly, perfectly well for it. What we just need to do is run npm's convex dev, which we do not need for that. So what I'm going to do is to make it work as I want it to, I'll copy this convex stuff because notice we have this. If you go to convex storage, I have, if I'm not mistaken, I'm using the convex here as what I'm importing from here, which is coming from convex auth, which means it's coming from convex. There's a client, which is this. So the client here, which is what I'm importing here, should be what is pointing to the URL. So automatically, I do not need all of this to run here. That means I can totally remove it from here. And it should still work fine. So I'll just copy this folder once I'm done, I'll move it to this. I'll move it here. And that's it. We are done with the mobile too. All right, so what we need to do, one last thing to do, it says if in the second app is a different repo, you can optionally generate a typed API.ts for that deployment with convex helpers, TS API spec. So what we can do is, so how do I do this? So the next question I'm going to do is, how do I use the typed API.ts? Because I'm using, okay, asking this because I have two projects, an extension a Chrome extension and a mobile app that should be synced. How do I ensure typed communication between both projects? So asking this question, I need to get answers. So I'm just going to wait for this to be done. So it says you can share a single type this between your Chrome and this by generating an API from your Converse deployment and using it in both projects. So each repo has its own generated API.ts. Install lepers in one repo where your Converse backend lives or where you configure the deployment URL. Generate the type from your deployment, which is this. This calls your Converse deployment and generate an API.ts with the types in fact from your Converse function validator. So copy API.ts into your other repo. That is from backend this to Chrome extension this. That makes perfect sense. And mobile this and check into version control there. When you change your Converse backend, run the command and recopy the updated API.ts. Okay. So use it in each project with convex this. So it's going to be something like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So I have my client here, client documentation. I'm going to call API.this.this. So yeah, that makes sense. So option two, monorepo shared package recommended if possible. Keep your convex function in app this, run convex this, generate this. Okay, I think I'm going to use a monorepo truly. This might be the best approach. So I have convex installed top level, and then both of them can share it. Okay, that works. Yeah. So always regenerate this or the shared this whenever you change. So in this case, um, keep this in this, run this to generate this, export that from the shared package, e.g. this in both apps. Yeah, I think I'll go with this approach. That makes more sense. But let's this be done first. Yeah, yeah, no red. Well, this red here is coming from. Okay, I perfectly know where this is coming from. The time have not been done. So yeah, that's understandable. So based on the suggestions, two things are going to happen. Based on the suggestions, I'm going to each repo has its own API.ts. Install this in one of them, install this in this. So that's what I'm going to use for both eventually, I believe. Okay. All right. So use it in each project with this. The monorepo shared package might just be what I use eventually, but I'm going to use that eventually. Okay, so this is done. Let's do this. Let's start our server first. Then let's start the npm convex dev npx. Yeah. So I already have a convex application running elsewhere. So I also complete is normal. Let's see. Let's configure the existing project. Yeah. Let me choose this. Okay, so you see it's adding the table indexes, adding by user, by clerk, everything is ready. So you wrote some of the converse function in this, that means it's perfect. So what I'm going to do is, now that this is fine, and you can see I have a convex function here called convex, which literally has an error or errors that we need to fix. You can see the API generated here, which is talking about. So we need to fix some things, right? Two things. This has an error. All right, that's fine for now. The pagination is not needed here since we are not fetching anything here. Remember, we are not fetching any of this. We are not using get user annotation anyway, right? So I'm not going to bother about this. The convex auth should no longer have errors. It's still telling me it's not assignable to this, which is just wrong. Why am I having users slash create update user? Okay, this is wrong. It's supposed to be from API dot users dot if I'm not mistaken. All right, so this is the API. Yeah, we need to get it from generated this. So, yep, 100% correct. So what I'm going to do, instead of doing this, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to call this. I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to just modify this to what it is currently, but we are still going to make use of it, right? You know what? I don't want to tamper with this for now. Let's get it done first. I'm going to change it eventually. So the same thing applies here. API dot users dot get by clerk ID. Same thing. Okay. So all the red are gone. Same thing with convex storage. We are using the API dot annotations dot save annotations. That should work. So I'm going to just do this. So wherever I have it, I'm just going to do the same thing. Remove this API dot this, and that's all. All the red should be gone now. Oh yeah, I need to import API also as before. And why do I still have so many red? I don't like seeing red. First complaints. String is not assignable to this. Okay, I understand. As user, as what? As ID users, yeah. As ID users. Trying to import ID. Oh, no. That's so wrong. Is it users or user? I think it should be user. Users? I'm not sure. So basically the users here is going to be the ID of the users which you are trying to fetch. Okay, it's users, you can see from here. So that's correct. Why is this error? Cannot find users. You know what? I'm going to do this. Still going to throw the error, I know. So it says cannot find ID users, blah blah blah. Which is the same thing I'm using. Oh, I'm supposed to put this in a string. Yeah, big mistake. So the same thing applies to this also. So it's going to be as same thing. So this should fix it too. Same thing here. Same thing. I think this is wrong because of the missing from type. But yeah, the annotation, we need to fix the annotation. We'll do that fix eventually. User ID, same thing. Okay, so same thing applies here. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, we need to fix this too. Oh, sheesh. All right, let's see if we have that also. So we have that, we have this, API for this. So we do a multi edit basically to make it faster. So here we have a convex ID do not exist. Just so there's a problem. It's convex annotation, extract convex ID is just wrong. So we need to fix this. So convex ID itself doesn't have an ID. So that means creating the schema, if I'm not mistaken, the convex ID doesn't have this. It's only the user ID that exists. So we don't have a convex ID. So that means I'm going to go back to storage and change it from this to user ID, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, what does he have then? Stored annotation should have convex ID. We didn't add it to it. Okay. But, um, you know what? I'm not going to bother about this for now. Let's finish with this. That single error is fine. IndexedDB storage. We are not using this anymore. So I close this. Okay, so let's test it out. We already know we have our convex implementation, which is if you go to the dashboard, we have this. So we should have two things here now. We should have the annotation table and the user table, right? So first thing we're going to do is we are going to try this with as usual, one of the Plasma extension pages. So I'm going to refresh this. Hopefully, if my extension is up and I can use it. If I can't, I need to refresh. Okay, I think it works. Let's see. It's taking time. Shouldn't take time. Something is up. My extension is misbehaving. Let me go and refresh it. So you can see how what you can see the size now 103 megabytes because we are working with where is it? Service worker field. As expected. Oh, URL not environment variable not set. Yeah, that's true. We need environment variable for the convex auth URL, which okay, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to copy that and paste that back here. And my screen is stop sharing again. All right, just give me a minute to add the URL, then I'll go back to my screen and then I'll add that to it. Right, what's the URL again? Let's copy that from here. Visit this, which is my URL. Okay, so it was added to a different place, which is not understandable by Plasmo. So deployment used by convex dev is this. Yeah. All right, so that is done now, so that should work. All right, let me share my screen again, just because of the reloading. So I'm going to have to, like, going forward, whenever I'm working on something like this, that we refresh the page. I'm just going to go to using a different browser entirely, so it doesn't really affect you guys. Because currently, that's it's always going to affect you when the pages refresh, which is a problem. All right, so going back here, refreshing this, clearing this, refresh this. Wow, okay. Service registration failed. Variable not set. Plasma public. Oh, yeah, that's true. It wasn't public. And I have to stop sharing just to show it. Just to go fix it. Because all my EAV files are in the same place. Okay, so yeah, done. That should work now. All right, so now it is set. Whatever is wrong with you, let's see if it's wrong. Let's see what's wrong with you now. Set. I can use it to work. Let's proceed. Okay, so it's now loaded it from the right places. All right, I think we should be good now. Let me share this again. No longer messing with different env files, so we should be good. Going back, yeah, extension working. Let's try this out again. Invalidated. Let's reload. See, yeah, we should be fine. Just refresh, just for the sake of, yeah, we are back. All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to use the ellipsis, use the pink, I guess, just a color that works. I'm going to do this, drag this here to be here, save and export. If all is fine, we should not get errors. Currently, there are no errors. All looking good. I'm going to go to the Anno-mark to check if it works. Go back to the extension. We are still logged in. You can see. Go back to my annotations. This is the one I just created. As you can see, you should see the pinkish stuff here. So let's see if it works. Now we know it is an annotation stored locally. Let's check our image kit also, our media library, to see if it works also. So it should work fine. Yeah, so we still have it here. So next thing we need to check is check if it goes to convex. If it does that, that would be nice. I honestly don't know if it does. It didn't work because you can see there's nothing here. So let's see the users. There's nothing on the users too. So yeah, that's a problem. I don't know how users have been handled yet. I've not even gone through the code. I need to check that as, as well to even figure out how it does that first of all. So the first thing it's doing is getting the collect session to for it says Chrome extension content we need to access collect differently. This might need to be called from pop-up or context script where collect is initialized. So it's trying to get the collect session and session user ID, which is trying to get it from here, which clearly I can. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go to click and get it from there. Because from what we did yesterday, we have that stored. So if I go to pop up, I can see that we have click handled properly, all by just using this sign out, sign in. But we are just using their own uh, from here, right? So there should be hooks we can use, right, to fetch and to get. But what it's trying to do now is how does it get access to the data it needs? It says it might need to be called from pop-up. We need to access click differently. It might need to be called from pop-up or content script where click is initialized, which I agree. So for now, we'll try to get user info from Chrome storage, which doesn't exist from Chrome storage. Definitely doesn't exist. But if we check, we can check it out. So if I go here and check, go to my Chrome storage application, go to the extension. Okay, so it's trying to check from the extension storage, right? Which is understandable. So chrome dot local dot storage local, which is here. As you can see, there's actually a storage here, but it's not called the Clerk storage. It's called the name of my Clerk application, which is this. So it's actually there, but it doesn't have access to the value, which is also this. And yeah, so that is it. So the question I have now is how do we get it from the clerk itself, which is a problem. Well, it's not really a problem. We just need to find a way to do that. Which currently we are getting it from here. So all we need to do is going to go to clerk. This is what the same stuff we used yesterday to implement that. So I'm going to go to the expo, not the expo. I'm going to go to the Chrome extension quick start here. So going back to the Chrome extension quick start, we can get what we need, right? We are just trying to pick what we want. So in this case, we can use the repo to see if there's a way we can get something else that we didn't implement. So this is the repo. I'm just going to do this. So it says scaffold, the new application, install this, blah, blah, blah. This is this, test the extension. Everything should work fine. I'm going to go to source here and check the content. So content.tsx should give me what I want if it works fine. As you can see here, we have this. Okay, we already have this implemented, so shouldn't be a problem. Then we have the features, which is the count button, which is what is imported from here, which is what is being used. It doesn't really do anything different. So it doesn't really add anything to what we are trying to implement. Yeah, there's nothing used by nothing concerns me with that. Now let's just do this. Let's see if there's anywhere we use collect. Just the sign in and sign out. What if we want to get my account or other stuffs like um okay, this is not what I want. I was thinking I could get something else from it. Let's go back to this place. How can I get any other data from this? Just the same way I will get it from a typical React application. So if I want to get users, say I want to get user management, no, session management, yeah, session tokens and stuff like this. Yeah, this is for typical Next.js stuff. It doesn't work for our use case. Let's see if I can get this from here. So you say the extension gives access to preview components, React hooks. Okay, that's what I need. And help us to make authentication easier. Refer to the quick start guide to get started. When creating this, you can configure your session to behave as one of the following: pop-up, side panel, sync host, deployed alongside the web app that uses sync host. Okay, that's fine. I've not tried that before. I think I'll learn that. See one of the following, blah, blah, blah. This email OTP is what we used, which worked yesterday. So email and password, we didn't use the password. We could, but we didn't do that. Email and username also works. So you say our Chrome extension does not fully support sync host on side panel. Okay, so that's fine. I don't need to do it then. So create Clerk clients for that need to interact with Clerk in a content script. Initializes a new Clerk instance on demand and refreshes the token if there's a valid sign-in user. It can be used in content script or a background service worker. That's cool. Add React router. I don't need that. Deploy extension now. Can I use click in the content script? You guys just said I can use it in the content script here. And you said no. Okay, now I'm confused. I'm confused. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, so that's cool. So what we need to do is we need to use this because they said it's usable in a context. So I can use create Clark context here. So I'm just going to click on this to see how it works. It said the create Clark client initializes a new Clark instance on demand and refreshes the token if it's invalid. If there's a valid sign user, I can be using background service worker to access the user information or session token, which is exactly what we are looking for. So it says create a background service worker, which we already have something like this, but we don't have this, so we need to get this. That's cool. So we need to get this for our clients, get the publishable key, get something like this, like the get token, and we can use this. Oh wow, this is cool. So now let's add this to our background to make it usable. So we go to background index. You can see there's literally nothing, just Anno-mark background script loaded, which we find if you inspect our pop-up for this. So if I inspect the pop-up for this app, come on. Okay, let me even inspect this. I should see it here. If I go to console, you see something like Anno-mark. Where is it? Where are you? 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 Oh, Okay, Anno-mark background script loaded. You can see it here. So which is same thing as what it's here. So it's something that always load first. Your background script is always something that loads first. So I understand the reason for that. So what we need to do is just copy the entire thing here, paste it after this. See what we have. So I'm just going to move this here, and we should still have the same stuff. So in this case, we have our publishable key, we have our get token function, which can be used elsewhere. The publishable key is something that we get from Plasmo, which is still correct. And then we use that if there's no valid session, return null, otherwise proceed, extend, blah, blah, blah. So create a listener to listen for messages from content script if it was returned true in order to keep the connection open and send the message. So this is one of the ways you can use Click in your Chrome extension, and it works perfectly well. So this example said, I'll create another, I think I'll create another tutorial on how this works, like in depth, so you can use it to work with your extension and make it work easily. So this example send the token back to the content script, but if you also use the token to perform action on behalf of the user, blah blah blah, all of this. Yeah. So that's it. So I'll just tell you that okay, I'll just keep pointing to it. So I'm going to go back to convex auth, which is here, right? So in this case, it doesn't need to use this anymore. It just needs to use this here. So I'll just point you to use that instead. So this example send the token back to the content script, but you can also use it to perform this. So I notice that you are. So first thing, let's try completing this. So this is one way we can use it. So if we want to do that in the background directory, in the tab directory that we have, which we have in our own case is the editor, we can do this. We can trigger the background service to get the token for us and set the token in the state. So in this case, we can just have a state, get the background from send message, greeting, get token. Remember, we created the token to be this, right? We created our token in the background. And so when we created the token, we did all of this. We send the response to be the token null if it fails, but if it succeeds, send the token as a response, right? That's exactly what we did here. So in this case, this is listening for that particular token by sending a message called greeting. Send the message greeting this. So trigger the background record to get the token and set the token in this state. So it's getting the token and sending it also. So in this case, when we do this, you can see get token is going to get called. Get token is coming from where? This. So this is just preventing this, trigger this service worker. So the service worker in this case is what we already have here, which is called here. And then we have that automatically defined. So we have a call get token here, so we can use that at will. So that's how we can use it here. So if you want to use it from the home also, what it means you can, when you click this, you open this, you can see it in the background tab. So this is actually very cool. Okay, so we can also use the hooks as we want, but we can't use the hook in that situation, right? We can only use the hook in a TSX file, which is fine. So what we need to do here is Jesus, this is not sharing again. Oh my god. How do I manage this? Okay, so what I need to do is I notice that you are using I'm just going to point it here. Notice that you are using a dummy like token from the convex auth, right? I already provided a way to, I'm going to change this to plan, get the token using in background index. Can you use that instead directly? So in this case, one thing we should be able to do, which I believe, I don't know if you can import this directly, but this is not a content. This is not in content because it's just part of the services. So if there's a way we can get that from here directly, it makes sense. But because we are trying to get it from the background, we can just use the normal get function from the background. If you look at one of the instances, you see that working there. These ones are just imported like as it is. For here, in this case, for instance, we see on auth state change, we are setting up a listener, which you've already done in the background. If you look at this, we see we set up a listener as well. So this can always work for us. So whenever we send like whenever we make a request here, we are saying that okay, but curiosity token to perform this. So this example send token back to the content script, but we can modify this to also do other actions. So whenever we send um, a message to this, right? So in this case, now this is listening, just the same way the convex auth is listening for when something changes here, which in this case is listening for when the area name changes. But in our that case here, it's not listening for when the area changes, listening for the sender, the message, all of those things. So I'm just going to say you can use that instead. So it's going to suggest and say, okay, I know how to use it. I'm going to use it like this and like this. So if I check it and I see how it works and how it is being used, I'm going to determine if that works for my use case, right? Seems I've been ghosted by AI. Send a question and nothing came back. Okay, that's fine. Just going to create a new task. Oh, I thought I copied that. Come on. So what we're going to do in this case is going to the image kit service, which in this case we used something like that here. Even though we didn't like use it, it still works. But these are standalone services that don't run services, so we can use that also. So we just need to look at how this is going to work. So in this case, understand this, it needs to see what I've done, which makes sense. What I've done is you should create that from the previous, use it in this new context, and that might have worked for us. So you say modify this to communicate to the background. Okay, so let's right. This should work. For Chrome SEO context, we might set up need to poll page events. Need and that's fine. Get print click user. It's yes, exactly in the background scripts, and that is working. So is that trying to get from this set of the actual token. The current problem is this, suggest it for me. And I also want to even change it because it's using the normal Chrome storage while I'm using Plasma storage for most of my other implementations. So I don't want that inconsistency between them, which like I said, we need to make sure we fix at the end of the day. So coming back to this, it says get this, try to use this from here. Global instance this is not reliable and does not provide this. Initialize to a proper initialization. You have proper this here. There's a message listener that can send tokens when requested. Is the correct approach. I know. So I had to modify this to use the token from this. Here's my plan. Update this to communicate with the background script to get the real JWT token. Replace the dummy this with function that gets the actual token. Yeah, that's true. So get that from the actual token, and how do you then get that user? Because even if you get the token now, it doesn't give you the user, right? It only gives you the token. And this says where you might access the user information or make a request to your backend and create the user token in the request. So how do I get the user information if this is just for the token? Hmm. So this will return. Okay, you know what? I'm going to console log the token first to know what I get. So it says in order to return true must click condition open and send the response letter. Um, tells me it's going to return a session token if it's valid. Okay, the user session is always fresh, correct? So the clerk option, accept an option argument, available, publishable key, this. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to allow this work, no problem. And the use user, I can't use any of the hooks here because well, hooks can actually work there. What am I talking about? It's a TS file, even if it's not a .tsx file, it should still work. I just need to have a function that I put inside the hook and it works, just like creating. Yeah, that should still work. If I was working with a React query file, it should still work, right? I should still be able to get that from it. So I should be able to get the use this. Okay, let's try this first of all. Get this, but even if it's not going to work here because except I create it as a hook that I calls the other hook, then that can work. Okay, fine. So let's see what happens here. I'm just going to use that approach, but we can use that approach also because this is easier to call. Let's see where this was used. It was used here, all in the same file. This was used here. Let's see. It's authenticated, was used everywhere in the save. So we can't use that approach because now it becomes problematic. Save annotation is also a .ts file that calls service. So if I look at where it is being used, authenticated is used here, which means this is the handler. Wow, okay. So in the handler here, we are calling a function and we are doing something entirely different. Okay. You know what? That's fine. This can't work, but we can create it. So it says in this case, you need to replace this with a function that creates the actual token. Initialize the converse client to proper authentication using the real token. Notify the converse client to use GWT for authentication. Ensure token is refreshed when needed. Create token management utilities. Get or create convex user to use the real token. But the point is, even using the real token doesn't give you the data you want because even if I use this for the clerk user, it doesn't give me the response I need. Now it gives me the token. Well, yes, but the storage dot clerk session doesn't give me the user ID because okay, you know what? I'm just going to do that. Let's just done with it. I will know how to fix the other problem when we get there. So yes, proceed. Uh, implementing this solution. So I'm going to tell you to proceed with the implementation. The next thing I need is I don't need all of these hooks for now, even though they're like for payments and all, we can use all of this, but not now. Let's see what from here. No, I don't need all of this. The SDK reference I need. This I need overview. I need React router. Nope. Consistent this. Nope. I can use this. You can be using a context script or a background service worker. So to access user information. So if that's the case, do I even need to use it here? How can't I just do the same thing here? Add it there directly, get my token and just use it straight away without needing to do this. Works. Um, this is something that's put in the scripts via the script. The, yeah, this script I can still use this as much, but it doesn't. So let's see what this is doing. First thing it's doing is sending a message. Yes, get collect token, which is fine. Runtime they're listening to this. Fine. Um, response the token, which is fine. I don't know what is happening right now. Just going to need to go through it. So the first thing he did was to modify this, right? It says, okay, it's back to identifying it. All right, so let's wait for it. I just want to do what it's doing. Then I check it out. If it doesn't work, I modify it. If it works, I leave it. So this is the what are you adding to this? Okay, yeah. If request type is equals to this, else do this. send token back to the context script. You can use that to do this. So it's modifying it so that there's a way to undo to get this. It's basically the same thing. What is here and what is here is the same thing, as you can see. What it's doing is that now it's giving it a request type so that whenever it gets a request type of get this, it knows to call that function, get me the response, which is why we are sending the message here as get collect token. So doing this automatically means I will get the token. But in this case, after getting the token, it's going to try to pass the token and get the value from the token, which is what is happening, which is what is happening here at this point. So let me show you what I mean. So there's a collect get collect token here, right? Which is fine. You will see where we okay, let's get done with this. I want to show you guys where it gets the user itself. So it's passing the token into three parts: header, payload, and signature. Then using that to get certain details like the subject, the email, the name, the first name, the last name, which exist by default, right? From Clerk. So Clerk will give you all of those things. That's what it's trying to do. So right now, if everything works, oh my god, and this is gone again. So I'm just going to do this again. I'm going to go back here and share this because I keep refreshing my browser window. So what anything I do right now keeps disconnecting. So annoying. All right. So what I need to do is wait for this to be done. Hopefully it should be done soon. Shouldn't take that much time to normal, but just see. All right. All right. Let's check. Let's see what is happening. So we already have the authentication and thing. So it's just going to modify all through the page since we already have all of those functionalities and then use that for our use case. So that means at the end of the day, like I said, we can always copy the convex folder. Convex is just beautiful to use. For me to use this in the mobile app now, all I need to do is just copy this directory, this convex directory, copy it there, modify the import for the API, which is a type version of the entire thing, and that's it. It should work as normal without me needing to change anything. Literally, everything should still work as it's supposed to, which is just cool, right? So I can use the same thing in multiple places. I can create a web app for it and still use the same thing by just linking to the same URL. It's just cool to use, and you still have the whole real timeness, you still have the whole database, you still have the whole file system. You have everything working for you without changing anything literally. That's just cool. And now this is gone again. Oh Jesus. I think I need to disable this or exclude anything that has to do with Restream for when I'm working with stuff like this. Because the moment I keep working this, it's going to keep misbehaving. And that is not working for me. Okay, so let's see. Fix the TypeScript errors, update this. Okay, it should be done now very soon. So just a few minutes more to see how this is going to turn out. But if this works or it doesn't work, I'm still going to have to finish it. Then I'll probably do like a recap here. I don't want us to keep working on the same thing over and over and over again. I'll just do a recap to see what happens eventually. And today's video has just been messy, a bit like extremely messy. I'm not impressed with the way it turned out. It's just wrong. Okay, so I'll create an actual video that makes sense for you guys. Sorry about how today has been. It has been extremely messy, so sorry about that. Really, sorry about that. All right, so yeah, we're going to go with this, and let it finish with what it's trying to do. So it's going to add authentication to remaining method in convert service or that need it. And I think we should be done after this. We don't really need to do anything more. And yeah, so it's going to return the only thing left, which yeah. So I think that's fine. That's fine. All the errors have been fixed, including the pagination errors. So in code, no bread anywhere, as I always like it. This is one of the advantages of using convex too. It's fully typed, so you barely get any errors. Like you barely get any errors if you implement it well. Actually, I'm building a very complex application using convex, and I can tell you that it has been smooth to work with. All the features it provides for me makes it easy. right? To just do stuff without needing to think of, oh, I need to implement this, I need to implement this. Reactivity is one of the features that, like I said, I like real-time applications. It's not even a consideration for me. It's a necessity. I can't create one without that. And that is not just something that I cannot do without the real timeness. And Convex provides that for me, like easily. So that's one thing I'm grateful to Convex for. 100%. I'm just saying this because it's true. Like it helps my life right now. And I don't need to go through a complicated setup to get it done. It just works out of the box for me. Implementing that just makes sense. And that is cool. So that's what I'm trying to do. So hope you guys have learned something from today's video as well. How to set up Convex, how to use it. I know it's not like the whole thing I promised, but it's not far-fetched. Once this is done, we already have the same database between the mobile and the client, which I'll just set up for you guys without like talking, because talking kind of makes it difficult to work at the same time. So that's the thing. So I'm just going to try showing you guys what I mean, loading both from both sides and making the changes. Once I can get it to work on convex once, it's going to be easy. I'll just do everything once without stress, and we know we are done with it. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So right, but then I might not really say much after that. So if I'm not saying anything and I'm just working, I'm just going to try speeding everything up. So yeah, that'll be the next plan. Please don't crash. I know I'm running a lot of things. Just bear with me. The laptop plays and I'm streaming with this at the same time. Yeah, don't worry, I'll get another one soon. So let's see, get a better one with better RAM, especially. RAM here doesn't work for this use case anymore. Oh no, do not crash, please. Okay, thank you. It's working. It's fine. There's no need running grep. Oh my god. Okay, fine. Run TSM it. That's fine. I don't have a problem with TSM it. Okay, so let's see. Next thing. All right, let's check this out. Done. Let's clear all these errors first. All these are slowing down my code. Let me cancel the build and rebuild this myself. Don't write any test. Oh, jeez. All right, so now that you're writing the test, that's fine. I'm just going to fix this myself. So this is still fine. Extension invalidate. Okay. No, it has nothing to do with what we've done. So everything we've done so far is cool. I don't need this. Write what you need to write. Let me start the server again and test it out. And yes, we are done. So we were able to complete everything in the 2 hours that we had. So this is 5:57, 3 minutes to 6, and we've been able to complete the whole convex implementation. Well, for the extension, not for the mobile. So, but doing the same thing for the mobile is basically simple. Now, if you can get this working in terms of like, I know we keep adding stuff to it, and that is, like I said, this is how software development is. You keep adding stuff because yes, the more you build, the more you realize, okay, let's do it this way. It's going to make sense. But the reason why I had to go through this approach is the software engineer in me will not make me create something that doesn't make sense. I could have just done this, hack my way into it, and show you guys do it this way. But that teaches you nothing because I didn't tell you the errors, didn't tell you the complexity, didn't tell you what the security flaws. But now I think I've done justice to that, which makes sense. So thank you so much for watching. This is last thing I'm going to do. Before I wrap up, I just want to show you the guys is then I go mute for a while and then implement everything. So now I'm trying to do this. I'll use the yellow color. I'm going to add this, but I'm going to add them down to the right side here so it's easy to see. Uh, so I'm just going to undo this. I'm going to create this by this side, and then I'm going to do this. So I'm going to save this and again go to check my. I'll first check my. Okay, this is gone again. No longer sharing. That's terrible. So I'm going back to image kits, checking my library, and if I see everything fine, I'll refresh this. Refresh this. Do we have what we need? Yes, it's there. So let's check the annotation, the Anno-mark, to see if it's there. Okay, so it's here, but we need to check convex to know if it's actually there. If it's there, then yes, we've done it. If it's not there, yeah, it doesn't work. So we don't have any of them here. We don't have the user, we don't have the annotation. So that means it doesn't work. So, but there's one more thing we need to check. We need to also be sure if this is actually correct. So, how do I check that as well? I need to be sure by going to, oh no, it's gone. All right, no, I'm just going to refresh this and just go mute here. All right, guys. So yeah, this is it. I'm going to be stopping this here, like I said, but not stopping. I'm just going to like stop talking for a while, try getting things done. So when everything is working to an extent, then in the next 5 minutes, I'm sure everything should be working by then. I'm just going to go mute now, focus on writing the code, stop talking because that kind of like slow me down from working, thinking at the same time. So yeah, so let's go. 5 minutes. this a bit. So I can cover today on the call. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with through. We're so weird, but thank you. Um, yeah. So I'll make this work. I'm going to put this. I'm going to drop an update so you guys can also be aware of how things have gone so far regarding the updates. And yeah, given that I'm going to be a new series separate from this, like a totally different series starting tomorrow. So if you want to be notified of that, consider subscribing, like this video too, so that yes, I can get the like and be sure that oh yeah, you guys enjoy this. And so yeah, that will be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying this long. Really appreciate you guys every single time. Yeah, bye for now.